Many people believe that the Bermuda Triangle is one of many mythical places on Earth. In fact, it is regarded as the ocean's most mysterious region. It's been described as a zone of oddities, a place for aliens, a site of military experiments, and even a passage to another dimension. There are numerous far-from-reality stories concerning the Bermuda Triangle, but every now and again, something would occur in the Triangle's zone that makes even skeptics stop questioning, especially if there is a living witness involved. The question is, can we really believe their words? In this video, we'll try to decipher the Bermuda Triangle's mysteries. First, I want to give you some information about what the Bermuda Triangle is. The Bermuda Triangle is the name given to a section of the Sargasso Sea that can be outlined with a triangle. As we all know, a triangle has 3 points, and in the Bermuda Triangle, Miami, the islands of Bermuda, and San Juan in Puerto Rico comprises its points. This is the standard version of the triangle, and in some cases, people would stretch out these points. The places surrounding the Bermuda Triangle are frequently traveled. This means that a variety of ships ranging from cargo ships to cruise ships and other boats pass through the zone. And it isn't just boats and ships that travel through this triangle. Planes also do fly over it most of the time. The Triangle's negative reputation, on the other hand, cannot be separated from it, and it all began with Flight 19, wherein 5 American planes that were on a training flight flying across the Bermuda Triangle on December 5, 1945, mysteriously went missing. No one has been able to pinpoint the official reason for the sudden disappearance of the planes, including the 14 pilots and 13 crew members that were assigned to find the missing planes. As a result, a tale of how strange this zone arose, and it earned a reputation as deadly, and even sometimes referred to as the Devil's Triangle. This dangerous and mysterious zone measures 1.3 million square kilometers, or approximately 500,000 square miles. People can still enumerate the unusual things that happened in the Triangle Zone from time to time. For instance, some claim that there was once a prominent explorer who witnessed an unknown object flying away into the sky with an unusual brightness as he was passing through this area. This controversy can be traced all the way back to Christopher Columbus's time. In the Triangle Zone, Columbus observed his compass seemed to not be working properly. But do these events mean that paranormal activity occurring in the Bermuda Triangle started ever since then? In addition to the mysterious disappearance of Flight 19 that I stated earlier, there is another mystery that is even more serious. During the period 1945 to 1950, there was 1 cargo ship and 3 aircraft that went missing, including all the people on it. Those numbers aren't even taking into account the disappearance of Flight 19. The Bermuda Triangle has numerous instances that are written on it on its own Wikipedia page. Even on land, the oddity of the triangle occurred. 2 small lighthouses on the tiny island of Great Isaac Cay disappeared totally in 1960, according to records. The lighthouses and even the bodies of people have never been discovered since they vanished. A tropical storm named Anna blasted through the area around the time these lighthouses disappeared, according to reports. However, there are no witnesses to the supernatural activities of the Bermuda Triangle. The strange happenings that occurred in the Triangle claimed the lives of 900 people, with only 19 people surviving. And most of the survivors will be unable to tell their story since it happened a long time ago. Fortunately, at least one survivor is willing to give us his story about this enigmatic zone. A person who has really encountered the oddity and stayed alive. Bruce Jernan is the survivor's name, and this is his story. On December 4, 1970, Bruce, his father, and a business colleague took a flight bound for Miami Beach from the island of Andros. It wasn't his first flight, so he was used to it, and everything seemed to be going smoothly at first. He estimated that the travel would take roughly an hour and a half. It's worth noting that Bruce was flying a Beechcraft Bonanza, a light-engine aircraft. He then saw a little cloud shortly after takeoff. The plane rose to roughly 300 meters or 1,000 feet, and the cloud ascended with it. It rose right in front of their eyes, yet the plane managed to fly straight through it. They believed that the situation was back to being better. However, they were flying at an altitude of 3,505 meters, or about 11,500 feet. Another cloud emerged, and this cloud was bigger. However, Bruce chose to fly right into it, since there was no other option. There was utter darkness after that, despite the fact that there was no rain. The pilot saw odd white flashes, as he was sure this was not the usual lightning. Every time the flashes appeared, they shone so brightly that they lit up the entire area. After approximately a half hour, Bruce came to a realization that this was the same cloud they had encountered earlier. The cloud takes the shape of a ring, more like a huge donut-shaped cloud. Bruce couldn't see a way to get out of the cloud's captivity. Suddenly, he saw a hole in the cloud where he could see the blue sky at the end of it. He knew that this was his only chance to get out. The hole appeared to be a tunnel, measuring slightly over 1.5 kilometers, or a mile wide, and 16 kilometers, or 10 miles long. The tunnel's walls bent and shrank. It also seemed to be closing by itself. Adding to the already frightening situation is the appearance of small gray cloud threads that were moving clockwise, and it either moves in front of the plane or surrounds it, covering the hole from which the plane could get out. The navigation equipment was not working either. Fortunately, after 20 seconds, Bruce was able to get out of this mysterious cloud. No one could rejoice or declare that they were safe at the time, since the plane was suddenly shrouded in a mysterious fog. Because of this, Bruce decided to call ground control to find out where they were, but the dispatcher couldn't see the plane on the radar. Could that happen? Well, taking into account the theories, yes. Interference can greatly cause abnormalities on radar instruments, and this could explain why the plane was not detected. However, assuming such is the case, why did the dispatcher suddenly report that the plane was in the sky over Miami? Let me remind you of the flight's estimated duration. The flight generally takes about 75 minutes, but Bruce only traveled for 47 minutes, which is way shorter than the time the flight is intended to take. The fact that Bruce's plane isn't even capable of going at such speeds adds to the weirdness. The plane isn't designed for going that fast. As the fog dissipated, Bruce realized he was indeed above Miami. He then checked the amount of fuel used throughout the flight when he returned to the ground, and because of this and other conditions, it appeared as if the plane had suddenly moved from one place to another, not with the help of engines, but by passing through a portal. Although all this sounds completely absurd, Bruce's trip was aired and publicized via the media. Bruce even declared to write a book about his narrative of what happened on that day in his life. The electrically charged fog that surrounded the plane, in his opinion, was the cause of everything. Professor David Parez concurred with Bruce, claiming that the fog formed over Florida between two areas of lower and higher pressure. Typically, such areas produce severe thunderstorms. The electrically charged fog, on the other hand, cannot be blamed solely for all of these happenings. According to the professor, the ionized air that caused the strange fog is what stopped the compass from working completely. But what about the plane's teleportation-like travel above Miami? Well, it appears it can only be explained by the so-called dark energy. However, this type of energy involves something like a curvature bubble that has the ability to change space and time itself. It's so complicated that it only exists in theory. This is what causes the universe to expand at a faster rate. Some speculated that, like Bruce's plane, dark energy could be employed to develop a special engine that would allow humanity to travel vast distances within a few seconds. I suppose what we all want to know is where the dark energy above the Bermuda Triangle comes from. Of course, people might always offer some explanation for it. Generally, when talking about the incidents happening on the triangle, we can't deny that some of the eyewitnesses' accounts were made up, and some details are extremely modified. Furthermore, others claim that the number of ships and planes missing in the area is the same as that of the portion of the world's ocean, taking into account the statistics. Nonetheless, there is always something peculiar and unexplained about the Bermuda Triangle that is always going to interest us. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Click the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are posted. And as always, thanks for watching.